It is time to go through all the books I read the month of November. I read a total of 7 books. 5 of those books were physical books and then 2 were audiobooks. So let's dive into it. The first book that I read was The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand, and she actually also co-wrote this with her daughter. I rated this 4.5 stars. This is set in a boarding school called the Tiffin Academy. They suddenly get ranked the number 2 boarding school in the whole country, and that is quite a jump from where their rankings were before. And then there's this new app that comes out called Zip Zap that basically you could think of it as like Gossip Girl vibes, where this app airs out all of the secrets and the drama, and it starts to cause quite a lot of drama within this academy. So we're essentially following multiple different point of views throughout this story. We're following the staff at the academy. We're also following students and parents and all sorts of different things. You get a lot of different storylines here of people, and the drama is so much fun. I found it very fascinating and just wanted to keep reading to see where different plot lines were going to go, and it left me kind of on the edge of my seat with a lot of questions. And there is apparently a second book that's coming out, I think next fall, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. The one thing I will say is if you don't love a book with a lot of modern references, you probably wouldn't love this book, because they do have a lot of current day references with like social media and TikTok and stuff like that. So if you don't love that in a read, I would say that can get a little bit cringe, but I personally didn't mind it. I feel like it still was a great book and I loved it. Next up, I read If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia, and I rated this 4.5 stars. This is a perfect, cute fall read set in the 90s. It gives very much rom-com vibes. It also is very reminiscent of Gilmore Girls, except for it's kind of reverse. So the girl is grumpy and the guy is sunshine. Our female main character goes to a small town in Vermont to run her mother's adorable bed and breakfast in this tiny little quaint town. And then our male main character is a very beloved baker in the town. He is a single dad and he is literally the essence of sunshine, and she is very focused on her work in the city and does not like people, wants to kind of be on her own and just work her life away. The one thing I really enjoyed about this story is that it weirdly felt very nostalgic with some of the 90s references and just the whole vibes of this story. I really enjoyed it, and I really liked how it wasn't overly cheesy, because sometimes when you have a seasonal read, it can feel very cheesy and over the top. But you're basically just following them along as she's trying to learn how to run the bed and breakfast, get used to the town, and she starts to kind of question the quiet life in this new town that she's in, while also, you know, still desiring to further her career and go back to her life in the big city. And she's also realizing that she maybe didn't know her mom as well as she thought she did, or the version of her mom was a lot different compared to the version that this town saw in her mom. And so we just kind of find her on this discovery journey of her mom and what that means for her and for herself too, of realizing that maybe work isn't everything in life. And I absolutely enjoyed this book. Next up, I read Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, and I rated this 3.5 stars. This is the 3rd book in the Hunger Games trilogy, and a revolution is brewing. There's a lot of action in this book, and I absolutely loved it. The story in itself was very entertaining, and there again was a lot of action. There's a lot of things going on and discoveries being made, and I definitely enjoyed this. Next up, I listened to You Deserve to Know by Aggie Bloom Thompson. I rated this 4 stars. In this story, we are following 3 inseparable families that are neighbors. These 3 families are very close, have weekly Friday night dinners, and one of those nights, someone gets murdered. And so basically, we are trying to figure out what exactly happened And as this mystery is unfolding, secrets and drama start to unfold, and there's deception, betrayal, and revenge. These friendships start to crack, and the closeness that we thought all of these families had start to kind of reveal the truth behind the closed doors, and that not every family or friendship is perfect and without any sort of issues or anything like that. Honestly, the plot line was so layered, and it really kept me invested and interested with the whole entire story, because you're following these three families and each of their dynamics while also seeing the grief of this murder, also seeing all these other situations being revealed and these other little mini mysteries that are kind of these side plots that you're trying to figure out along the way. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I could not stop listening to it. A really cool thing about the author is she was actually a crime investigative reporter, and so her storylines within this book were inspired by real events and real experiences. It's technically considered an auto-fiction. It was kind of funny because at the beginning of the book, I'm not sure if it was an interview or what exactly it was, because obviously I listened to the audiobook, so I'm not sure how it's laid out in the actual physical book. But the author was asked some questions about these stories and if it was based on a true story and all this stuff, and the author was just kind of like, if you know that this is about you, basically, not her problem or something like that. And it was just kind of funny to me, but it was really cool the way that she clearly has incorporated her investigative reporter work within the stories themselves, and I think it really added another layer to the story. So I thoroughly enjoyed this read. Next up, I finally read Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, and I gave this 3 stars. I ended up listening to the audiobook of this one because I was very intimidated by this story and her writing style. I don't think I have read anything by this author. Obviously, I am familiar with Normal People, and her writing style, she doesn't have like quotation marks around dialogue, which I think as you start reading, you do get used to it. But I just decided to listen to the audiobook because I was like, that's the only way I'm gonna be able to really dive into this story. Essentially, we're following 2 brothers who are 10 years apart after they are grieving the passing of their father. The oldest brother is a lawyer and seems to have everything together, but on the inside, he's actually really falling apart. And then the younger brother is kind of this eclectic guy who just does a bunch of odd jobs. He's a professional chess player. He has always felt like an outsider, and like his family does not understand him. They are both really struggling in their grief and in their relationship with each other. So we sort of just follow each of their point of views as they navigate that and navigate relationships and just some of the internal dialogue that's going on with them. It was a very complex, layered story, which I enjoyed. I do think it moved a little bit slow, so I'm glad that I listened to it because it is one of those fiction stories where it's just kind of going through life with them, and I really enjoyed it. Next up, I read Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and I rated this 4 stars. That was weird. The lights on our tree, Trent, looked like they were not on, and then they just like came on again. That was weird. But they were always on. Okay, anyways. Basically, we follow Evangeline. She strikes up a deal with the Prince of Hearts, Jax. And striking up a deal with someone like Jax is never a good idea. So basically, we're just following her on this journey. In this deal, he asks that she has to share 3 kisses of his choice. And so we're following her kind of on this adventure as a lot of things go wrong, and she's trying to bargain with the Prince of Hearts, who is a very loaded individual, and it is so much fun. She discovers very quickly that bargaining with an immortal like Jax is a very dangerous game. So this is so much fun, and it's a quick and easy read. I really enjoyed it. Technically, this trilogy is connected to the Caraval series, I think is what it's called, and I did not read that. I think this comes after that series. It's like a spin-off of that series, so you don't technically have to, but I think if you read these books first, it ruins some of the characters in that original series. So I just decided to pick this up because it sounded really interesting, and I'm very glad I did, and I loved it. Next up, I read The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, and I rated this 4 stars. This follows President Snow when he's 18 years old and he enters the 50th Hunger Games. He becomes a sponsor and gets paired with a girl from District 12. Who is kind of the lowest of the lows, and so we're just following them on that journey and in the Hunger Games, and I really enjoyed it. That is all the books I read the month of November. I enjoyed all of my reads this last month, and I've been loving getting into the Christmas spirit and reading some cozy books. I thought it would be fun to update my journal again together, so let's go ahead and do that. Thanks so much for watching my video and listening to me talk about books and update my book journal. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye.